Stampede Luffy debuted on the 22nd of January 2020. This was the second half of the Stampede celebration as the counterpart character to Douglas Bullet. This batch brought along some of the other Straw Hat characters that had not debuted in this celebration thus far, and the characters included in this batch were One Piece Stampede Frankie, One Piece Stampede Nami, as well as One Piece Stampede Roronoa Zoro. And the Sugofest exclusive character of the batch boasts a captain effect that is type focused, as well as granting a phenomenal utility effect, with a special that would grant boosts to only himself. However, the boosts were significant, making him a wrecking ball against int enemies. Introducing Surpassing the Strongest with his crew, Monkey D. Luffy. In this series, we'll be traveling back in time to experience some of the older Sugofest exclusive characters in their prime, aiming to show just what it was like to use these characters on their debut. I hope you enjoy the video, and without further ado, let's enter the Legends of OPTC. Thank you very much for checking out yet another episode of the Legends of OPTC, and today we're going to be covering the secondary half of the Stampede celebration. So we're going to be looking at Monkey D. Luffy, Stampede Luffy as he is known in the community. This unit's pretty cool, and even to today's standards is still a pretty strong legend, so we're going to go ahead and talk about him in just a moment. There's also some other Straw Hats receiving some additional characters. So there was the introduction of 6+ Bullet. Usopp got a free-to-play unit during this event. That is obviously Clash Sabo too. And also the Boa Hancock character from Kizuna Clash. Very good partner under Stampede Luffy. So let's talk about the first of the rare recruits that came alongside Stampede Luffy, which was Frankie, who is a Dex shooter-free spirit. Captain ability is pretty bad, but reducing 5 turns of blindness as a sub sometimes can be useful. And then he says if you have a Dex or Psi captain, then recovery and tandem will be beneficial to Dex and Psi. That's a pretty good crewmate ability, actually. And then a special ability that would remove barriers by 1 turn. Not too many characters back in the day would remove barriers, and even today, not a lot of characters actually do that. Also damage dealing special, and then if you have a Dex or a Psi slot on your captain, then you get 1 turn ore block, and you still get a 2x attack boost to Dex and Psi for 2 turns. So obviously these rare recruits are built to work under Stampede Luffy. Makes a lot of sense. A 2x attack boost for 2 turns can definitely be useful, but considering the fact that Stampede Luffy already provides an attack and an ore boosting effect, this didn't see a hell of a lot of play, but we'll see. Maybe we can make use of him today. We'll see. The secondary rare recruit of this batch, Nami, is amazing and still see some niche usages here and there today. So Psi Striker Cerebral, surprise, surprise. Captain ability doesn't matter, but being able to resist 2 turns of special reverse and 5 turns of special bind on herself, and then a multi-stage special, more importantly in stage 2, reducing cooldown of Dex and Psi by 2 turns, and then removes bind, special bind, and chain lock by 5 turns. So being able to resist special bind, special reverse, as well as doing -2 cooldown and removing special bind, that's an amazing combo. Not too many characters in the game do special bind, special reverse in one kit together. Only a very select few characters actually do that, like Legend Alba, Rare Recruit King, the old school, you know, Strength Rare Recruit one. There was an Int Usopp that came out not too long ago that also did it, and this was also one of these units. A very rare commodity in One Piece Treasure Cruise. Definitely a very valuable rare recruit character. The last rare recruit was Roronoa Zoro, being a Dex/driven. Captain ability once again does not matter, but then if you have a Dex or Psi captain, quick slots would be beneficial to Dex and Psi, so just more matching slots is always good. And then a special that would do 200,000 fixed damage to a single target, changes the orbs of this character and top row characters into matching, and if you have 5 or more Dex or Psi characters, you get a 2x orb boost for Dex and Psi for 2 turns. So you are supposed to be using these characters together, where you can use the Zoro special first, you can get your captain's orb to be Dex or Psi, and then when you use the Frankie special, you can get the 2x attack boost and all of the other shenanigans, the orb blocking mechanics and all of that. So this whole batch is just supposed to work together. You have Frankie and Zoro being an orb booster and an attack booster, and more matching slots as a sub too. So under Dex and side team, Zoro and Frankie are very, very good together, and you got utility special with Nami, of course. So there you go. Those are the rare recruits of the batch. They didn't really see a hell of a lot of play outside of this celebration, except for Nami, of course, who was just an amazing generic rare recruit all around. But then finally we get to Stampede Luffy, and just a little footnote about Stampede Luffy as well. This artwork is so bad. I absolutely despise this artwork. I mean, when you have this as the unevolved artwork, this artwork is one of my favorites in the entire game, and then you go from one of the best to one of the worst in the game. This is just a very ugly artwork. I really hope this guy gets a super evolution at some point in the future. Anyways, he is a sci-fighter powerhouse. So interestingly, seeing another powerhouse Luffy, the last Luffy to be powerhouse, to my recollection, was the Strength Snake Man super evolution. So it's interesting that they went down that route again instead of being Free Spirit. But his captain ability, we're not going to look at the level limit break, of course, but the base captain, you get an attack boost to Strength, Dex, and Psi by 4 times, and then you also get 20% damage reduction, but it boosts his own attack by 4.5 times. So this is kind of like a mirror of Douglas Bullet. Bullet would provide 3 colors, a 4 times boost, and then also provide a bigger attack boost to himself. And this is a mirror of that in terms of Douglas Bullet and comparing and contrasting. Bullet would give you HP, Luffy gives you damage reduction, and then he also makes those slots beneficial to those colors. Now, the Douglas Bullet had the really unique ability of being able to be super effective against all types. This guy, instead of having that, would reduce 10 turns of despair and 10 turns of paralysis. So this is another very powerful effect. Of course, as being super effective and also removing despair and paralysis, like, yeah, I don't know which one you would think is better to have. I think, generically speaking, I think the utility is probably a bit more important. Damage usually isn't that big of an issue in normal pieces of content. Typically, having lots of unique ways to get around gimmicks and having utility is actually more important. So anyways, good captain ability either way, you know. It's a very, very good captain ability. Moving on, sailor abilities are kind of whatever. Strength, Dex, and recovery and tandem slots beneficial for himself. It's kind of whatever. Also an attack boosting effect. The special ability, though, would do 120 times his attack and typeless damage to all enemies, so lots of AoE damage, boosting the attack of himself by 2.5 for 2 turns, giving him an orb boost for himself, 2.5 for 2 turns, and increase his base attack between 1 and 1000 for 2 turns based on your current HP. So as long as your HP is at a decent value, so it says if you're at 20,000 HP, you do get the maximum 1000 bonus. Of course, if this character released in today's day and age, the base attack boost would work a little bit differently. You can see that the base attack boost, it says in the level limit break effect, boost the base attack of this character by 1000 for 2 turns. So they changed it to just be a flat boost, and beforehand it was based on your current HP value. But he's a very self-focused character, giving himself a big attack boost and a big orb boost, which it is still dependent on the type of enemy you go against. Even if you're hitting for neutral damage, this is still going to hit very hard. But of course, if you're especially against int-focused content, then this special ability by himself, even as a crewmate, is going to enable you to do so much damage against it. And, you know, especially when they started releasing some really powerful statistical increasing supports for Luffy, then this would just go up even further. So it didn't really see a hell of a lot of play initially. A lot of people mainly used his captain ability just because of the utility focused effect. And as long as you're up against content like Dex content, quick content, or int content, you can build a team around him. Good utility captain. The special ability was a bit of a bonus, helping you get around some mini bosses. Most of the time you wouldn't use this on a final boss because it's a lot better to give boosts to your entire team rather than just to a singular character. And that's always been a mainstay in One Piece Treasure Cruise. But still, this does have some niche usages here and there. And of course, with level limit break, he definitely gets a lot better, I will say. He's a fantastic level limit break character. But still, Stampede Luffy, a really big celebratory event with the Stampede release. Douglas Bullet versus Monkey D. Luffy. Let's go ahead now and jump into some content using this guy as the captain. And we'll see if we can fit in some of those new rare recruits too. So we're in here now, in-game, with Stampede Luffy. So we're going to be using here, this is a duplicate that I had, and I ended up, you know, feeding a couple copies to level up Limit Break and stuff like that. So it is level 99. It is not level Limit Break 3 or 5 to get the buffed Captain ability. So it is going to be the base version of Luffy here. That 4 times attack, 4.5 to himself. But of course, the good thing about Stampede Luffy, that captain ability to resist 10 turns of paralysis and despair was godly. Amazing, amazing ability. And we also have some pretty cool characters alongside. We've got Frankie and Zoro from the batch itself. We have the Kizuna Rare Recruit, or the Kizuna free-to-play character, should I say, Boa Hancock. So she came out with Stampede Luffy in this celebration, and she works very well under him. And we're also using Smoker, who is a very valuable character in this specific content against Clash Big Mom. So without further ado, let's go ahead and run this content with Stampede Luffy. Like, still, with level limit break, he's one of my favorite legends to use still. Even though his special is self-centered, self-focused, it's still strong. Like, he himself just does so much damage, even with neutral damage output up against the opponent, which is just incredible to see. So first thing is first, we do need to stall for our special. Surprise, surprise. So we don't actually have to do a hell of a lot of stalling, just a little bit, just to make sure that we're able to use some of our specials when we get to stage 3. Specifically Smoker. He is going to be useful for stage 3, so we want to make sure that he is ready for that. I think we will tank a hit here. We've got some recovery slots. We can tank a hit or two. That's not going to be too bad. So we actually do take quite a lot of damage from these guys. And that's the thing as well. I forgot about this. This debuff on this content, it lowers the amount of HP that you can recover back. And there's only actually a very few amount of characters in the game that can remove that debuff altogether. So in this content, you basically have heavily nerfed recovery here. I believe it's like 10% of your max recovery is gone, which is just crazy. Can we get a little bit of stall off on this turtle? We do. That's fantastic. So I think we are actually overstalling here. We can go ahead and move on. Yeah, we're going to kind of breeze through this content now that I'm thinking about it. We're just going to absolutely demolish this. We can actually just hit order here and just move on. Like, we actually don't need to do anything. We don't really need to do any stall or anything here. Are we actually going to kill through the defense? Of course we do. Of course we do. No problems at all. That's crazy when you're just autoing content now on the Legends of OPTC series. But the main reason why Smoker was so important for this team, and basically any team that was built to try and take on this content, is you ideally want to use it here. So we're going to use the special of Smoker, which allows himself to switch into the captain position for 2 turns. And the main reason is because on Battle 4, your captain gets a debuff where their special cooldown is, I think it's like reversed fully. So no matter how much cooldown we have, so if we left Luffy as our captain moving into stage 4, his special ability would be depleted back down to 0. So we'd have to charge his cooldown again, which is obviously not what we want to do. But we are also inflicted with a pretty heavy attack down on this stage, so we're just going to go ahead and use a Stampede Luffy special, which is going to allow us to KO the whole stage with a wave clear, and then we can move on to stage 4, because stage 4 doesn't really do that much. It's just the fact that the preemptive attack of Battle 4 has a really annoying debuff that is just so frustrating to get around. So we have, there's actually 2 different variations. There's Bava Wa, which is this one right here, or there is Daifuku. It actually doesn't really matter which one we get here. And we still have attack down, so we actually do have to do a little bit of stall. You can see, like, only doing like 15,000 damage, 14,000 damage there from that Luffy. Just heavy attack down. But now the attack down is removed, which is great for us. So let's go ahead and do some damage. And I wonder if we're going to kill in 1 turn. Let's see. We've got our attack boost back now, which is fantastic. Oh yeah, this guy is going down. Down a funky town. Boom. So good. And, you know, another thing as well is, like, support rare recruits, once they started getting introduced into the game, the support of rare recruit Sabo, man, is still one of the best supports for Luffy characters in general, giving them such a significant attack buff, and is a great addition to Stampede Luffy, as, you know, Stampede Luffy is very focused, you know, having that support to give a 1.5 base attack boost to him is very strong. So, we have Big Mom here on the final stage. She gives us a very big burn debuff every time we hit a perfect. I can't remember off the top of my head how much burn it is, but it's a lot, as well as our ship is completely ship binded. And the other thing too is that Big Mom actually revives. So that's why you don't really want to hit perfects on the first health bar of Big Mom, because she will revive. and she changes color. It's just a very annoying clash event. I remember when it first came out, there wasn't really a lot of like amazing teams that could get through it like super efficiently off the top of my head. But Smoker was definitely one of the characters you wanted to use so that your captain specials wouldn't be able to get reversed. So we're going to go ahead and save the Stampede Luffy special until after the revive. So we're going to use the Zora special, which is going to give a 2x attack boost to our... or 2x all boost, should I say, to our Dex and Psi characters. Frankie gives us the 2x attack boost to our Dex and Psi characters as well. And he also gives us the ability to lock our slots so we can keep matching slots for the following turn as well. A lot of these slots are not going to matter anyway, as you guys will see post-revive. We can then go ahead and use the special of Boa Hancock, which will give us a 3x chain lock for one turn, and that's going to be really useful, especially because we are not going to be hitting perfects because of the burn that's inflicted to the team. It also does a health cut too, which is kind of clutch. So let's go ahead and kill this Big Mom, because we should be able to kill pretty comfortably here. The revive is the scary part though, so let's see how we do. Now that I'm thinking about it, we probably could have saved the Boa Hancock special for after the revive just to get a bit more damage, but I think we're going to be okay. So you can see that she revives here. She is a strength unit, very, very annoying. And I wonder if we're actually going to have enough damage to kill now that I'm thinking about it. I think there should be enough. And you see the slot bind there? That's the most annoying thing. The fact that that slot bind occurs. So luckily we have the potential ability maxed out on Luffy. And this is one of those cases where maxing potential abilities is going to be pretty important for this team. So let's go ahead and use the Stampede Luffy special. Now, we already have an attack and an orb boost, but at least we do get the base attack boost, which will be given to Luffy, making sure that he hits a little bit harder. And considering, you know, majority of the team is Dex, we're not going to have type advantage versus this character. So we're really relying on a lot of damage here to hopefully get the knockout. And if we don't have enough damage, we'll run it back and we'll use Boa on the revive. I think that might allow us to get the win. But here we go. Hopefully it's enough to knock out Big Mom. Oh, it was just shy. It was just shy. Okay, well, if we use Hancock on the revive, that is going to enable us to kill. Oh my god, dude, literally like the tiniest amount of HP left. That is frustrating. Okay, as I said, we'll run it back, hopefully get the knockout this time. Alright, so we've made it back and we have used our specials. We're going to save Hancock for the revive, but hopefully this is still enough damage to kill. We actually had a pretty good amount of damage and we do have much more type advantage on the first turn. So let's see if we can get that knockout. That was really tight. We did have to hit at least one perfect. But that was fine. You know, it was a little bit more tighter than I was expecting. But now we have the health cut from Hancock. We have the 3x chain lock. So this should be more than enough damage now to definitely get the knockout on this next turn here, which is going to be nice for us. So first of all, we're going to go ahead and use the health cut of Boa Hancock. This time it should be enough damage to get the knockout. Getting 1,000,000 damage shaved away. And then we'll go ahead and use the Luffy special, giving us the base attack boost. And now we should have enough damage to get the knockout. Let's get it. Boom, there we go. Finish it off. There we go. We beat it. We finally did it. We beat the Big Mom with the team. You know, a little bit finicky, but, you know, with some slight changes, we can go ahead and get the job done. Ideally, if there was, like, another way to get, like, another chain boost or a color affinity boost, that first turn would be a lot easier, but, you know, having the attack and orb boost with that chain lock and health cut on the second turn was more than enough to get that knockout there. So that was cool. Really, really successful win there with Stampede Luffy. Really hope you guys did enjoy this one today, and that basically brings about an end to the Stampede celebration. We had the release of Stampede Luffy, the Super Evolution for Bullet had come out, and we had all these free-to-play characters to play around with. So it was actually a lot of fun. So Stampede Luffy was really cool, and looking forward to showing you guys another thing in next week's episode, which to my recollection, I think it is Halloween Ace. is going to be next week's episode, so that should be a lot of fun to play around with him. Another powerful unit in One Piece Treasure Cruise that is actually still very good to today's standards. So hopefully you enjoyed the video today, and if you guys did, make sure to go ahead and leave a like, and if you want to stay up to date with all the content I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. On that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.